Welcome into a Friday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered here by Go Chevrolet, online at GEAUXChevrolet.com. Remember, get in touch with our crew down there in LaPlace and over here in Baton Rouge. And if you're traveling around Tennessee or you're listening in Tennessee, they've got a spot up there for you at Go Chevrolet, GEAUXChevrolet.com. Happy Friday morning to you. We appreciate you being here. Make sure you hit that like button, that share button. If you want to comment, jump inside of the bunker. We appreciate the interaction. There's a lot to get to here on this Friday morning. We will recap again National Signing Day with our guy Sonny Shipp, the OG of the game. Will be here at 8 o'clock this morning. We'll talk to Sonny about some of the storylines surrounding National Signing Day. How good was it for LSU? We'll get the grades from Shipp coming up here at 8 a.m. Nathan Velasquez with the latest from Hollywood. The 5-Minute Critic will be here at 8:30. We'll talk to UNO head basketball coach Mark Schlesinger at 9 a.m. this morning as the Privateers, winners of 9 out of their last 10, will preview LSU and Vanderbilt. We also have a text in to Jake Crain of the JBoy show, former Auburn staffer.
Me too.
As Auburn, Bryan Harsin. Wow.
He's got some text in himself.
They're in some trouble, yes. Yes. We'll talk all about that story coming up here at on the Jordy Culotta Show. We appreciate you being here. Texas A&M may be in the market for another 5-star as they may be reclassifying somebody from 2023 into the 2022 class. We'll tell you about that story as well. Remember, daily, we are brought to you by Papa Earl's Spice. 30% less sodium than the competition. Find them anywhere that you shop locally. Hi Neighbors, Rouse's, Calandro's, Papa Earl's official spice here at the Jordy Culotta Show. Also brought to you by True Blue Water, TRUBluewater.com, as you can get in touch with them and get on the delivery route today. And always Metropolitan Health Group, our phone lines, brought to you by Metropolitan Health Group. Real doctors, real solutions. Metropolitan Health Group. Remember, get in touch with Charlie Harvey and Jason Ramazan for Metropolitan Health Group. Pete Golding got a DWI on National Signing Day. There's a ton going on. Golding's got a great head of hair.
He really does have a lot of hair. It was very messy in the photo.
He's a big visor guy. I don't know if you can go. I mean, usually visor guys with that amount of hair tips you off that they are a huge stoner, first off.
Really?
I think he got into a little bit of the bottle yesterday.
Yeah, he was in the bottle for sure.
Can you put the photo up there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, got to. He's from Hammond.
Is he really?
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't know that.
Hammond's finest. He was on Frank Wilson's first staff at Texas San Antonio. And then jumped on Saban's staff and skyrocketed up the staff for the Tide, and now is the defensive coordinator. But yeah, can't you can run from Louisiana, you just can't get the Louisiana out of you.
Out the boy.
That's right.
Well, that's what you do when you sign the top 4 pass catchers.
That's right.
Celebrate.
Yeah.
He went in and raided Louisiana. They went and duped Danny Lewis. Poor Danny Lewis, man. I feel so damn bad for Danny Lewis. First off, Brian Kelly's dancing behind him like a weirdo. Next thing you know, it's got 10 million hits on social media.
To go away.
Nothing.
Worst part about it is he doesn't even go to LSU after the social media surfaces. Then Saban just wants to play some head games with LSU and goes in and takes Danny Lewis out from under them. Lewis might not even log a snap in Tuscaloosa, as it feels like. Yesterday, Saban gets on the podium and sends a direct shot to Baton Rouge. A lot like we speculated earlier this week. Saban, yesterday, his first remark on Danny Lewis, "I can dance too." I mean, I was like, son of a bitch.
He's back.
He's just needling LSU, messing with Kelly, letting him know, dragging him real quick before they even get on the field. Danny Lewis now in Tuscaloosa. But as we said, LSU had a really nice day with Harold Perkins. We'll talk about that with Sonny Shipp coming up here at 8 a.m. this morning. If you've got questions for Sonny Shipp, jump inside the bunker, hashtag #AskSonny, and we will ask him what's going on. Major story of the day is that it looks like Bryan Harsin might be lucky to make it through the day. This story out of Auburn, Alabama is wild, man.
Wild.
So Bryan Harsin is in some serious turmoil right now. He has been on the job just over a year, 14 months he's been on the job. But there are a ton of rumors and a ton of smoke billowing out of Auburn, Alabama right now as people around the program are speculating that he may be out today for cause. No final decisions have been made. There is no timetable for the decision. But if Harsin is removed for cause, the university will not owe him the buyout, which is almost around $13 million. $12.8 million is what Auburn would be on the hook for if Harsin was fired without cause. If he's fired with cause, obviously that will be no financial commitment from Auburn to Harsin. Now seems to be a lot of stories on what's going on with Harsin. It's very personal. All you have to do is a quick Google search and it'll tell you what's going on. But if you're watching, there is a story allegedly coming out of Auburn that the assistant to the head coach, much like the position that Derek Panamsky shared with Ed Ogeron here at LSU, Bryan Harsin decided to hire a very attractive female,
smart,
that seems like gotten him into some trouble off the field, and there is speculation on whether or not Harsin's going to make it through the day. And a lot of the stuff that is coming out is not good for Bryan Harsin. It's not good for the university, for Auburn University and their football department right now. So,
has he made a statement about it or anything?
There's nothing that has
nothing
come out.
This is all we know.
Well, I mean, which kind of tells you everything you need to know, right? Is that nobody's talking from Auburn, which means that there must be a lot of investigating happening or a lot of trying to get down to the bottom of what's been going on the last couple of months. She was on Harsin's staff at Boise State. She's a graduate of Boise State. She was brought down here for on Harsin's first staff at Auburn. She's in the same role she was in at Boise. So we'll just wait and see. I don't want to get into he said, she said stuff on this. Like I said, a quick Google search, you get everything you need to know.
Is he married?
He is married.
That's the problem. Or the big.
Well, I mean, they're both employees of the school,
right?
I don't think that. I'm not getting into the moral clauses of contracts and how people write up their contracts on universities, but I don't think that it's illegal to have an affair on, if you're a university representative. I think it is illegal to have a relationship with somebody within your own department if it's not disclosed. And I think that would, be the cause of termination if Auburn is looking for an out to get out of what they would financially owe Harsin if they fired him without cause. Like we said, it's around $13 million. I think the official number is $12.8 million is what Auburn would owe Bryan Harsin if they were to remove him without cause. But it looks like that there is a lot of smoke and a lot of momentum rolling downhill on Harsin that it may or Auburn may have him for cause, allegedly. All of this stuff is alleged right now. Nothing is official.
Is this Auburn kind of trying to get a way out of the?
I'm sure
Harsin?
that there is a. I'm sure that there is a section of people. I mean, look, Auburn had 18 kids get into the transfer portal after his first season. That says a lot. You know what I mean? I thought that it said a lot. About LSU being able to retain some of these guys coming back at a coaching transition after you're on the job. If Brian Kelly has 20 kids leave after his first season, there's an issue. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like they've got a problem. Bryan Harsin, after his first season on the Plains, had 18 kids get into the portal. I'd imagine that raised a lot of red flags for not only administrators and people that are responsible for making decisions about hiring those types of positions, but the boosters and supporters that put up the money to make this thing function are probably starting to rumble behind the scenes as well of what's going on in the locker room. So, I'd imagine that there is a section of the Auburn fan base that would absolutely look for a way out of Bryan Harsin after year one with what they've seen, not only on the field, but what they're hearing of what's going on off the field. And if you look at, a lot of the smoke that's going on around the program, like I said, 18 players in the portal after the season sure does say a lot.
This is Bryan Harsin's wife on Instagram.
Really?
Rumors are carried by haters, spread by fools, and accepted by idiots. So she's standing by her man.
She just posted this?
Yep.
Is my mic on?
Yeah, it does. I don't know why it's not very loud, though.
So
I don't know.
Do they have a relationship?
I don't know. No, I'm not getting into that because I don't know any of that. I don't know any of that.
Okay.
I mean, all that stuff is message board stuff. I mean, there's nothing official that's out on that, but that's the stuff that's being rumored and said. And I mean, it's touching national platforms. I mean, people all over the country that talk about college football, write about college football, podcast about college football, anything around the sport are talking about Bryan Harsin. So,
Is she like the only female
Staffer?
special
I have no
assistant
idea.
to the head coach
I have
in
no
the
idea,
country?
but I mean,
Or is there other women
no. Like,
special assistants to the head
Dan
coach?
Mullen brought from Mississippi State to Florida in that same position. Look, I mean, I'm not saying that just because you hire an attractive female in that position that you're going to have an affair or that you're going to be unfaithful or that you might start up a relationship. I'm just saying it's very dangerous in that position with the amount of time that you spend with one another and the amount of time that you spend really away from your family with one another in that position. Just, it's really easy to start a personal relationship with somebody. And I mean, there are people in that position all over the country that are qualified, that are very good at their job, that are females. But, I mean, the instant reaction of when you see her picture all over national media, in which it's going to be starting, it's already started today, and it's going to roll throughout the entire news cycle of today and through the weekend. I mean, you can imagine the discussions that are going to be had around lunch tables and water coolers around the offices and all over the SEC. I mean, all over college football towns. So, I mean, we'll wait and see. But, I mean, a lot of the smoke around Auburn, Alabama right now is people telling me that he's not going to make it through the day. Like
I don't see how he could. And then it opens up the discussion where we were kind of talking pre-show. What does it mean for the recruits that have committed to Bryan Harsin, and does that allow them to get into the portal? Do they get a waiver?
I would imagine so, because a lot of the language around the transfer rule really kind of started around if there was a coaching change, then you should allow whoever is committed, signed to that coaching staff to be back open on the market again. I mean, that was kind of how this transfer rule kind of started to get the momentum of, look, just let them go. Let the players have one
pass.
Just one get out of jail free card, I guess is what you want to call it. I mean, I don't know what you want to call it, but I mean, like, you made a choice, you can go somewhere for free. Now you have these commitments and these signees who have just signed a letter of intent, some of them within the past 48 hours, some just a couple of weeks ago, on going to Auburn under the perception that Bryan Harsin is the head coach and under his vision. Now, if he is removed today, I would imagine that would be pretty simple to get a waiver from a recruiting standpoint of getting back out there. And that puts Austin Osbury back into the conversation for LSU, a position of need, a guy that's on your campus, a guy that's in town, a guy that you got a great relationship with. That may be a possibility. I mean, that could be somebody that LSU could re-spark a conversation with and maybe pull because of some of the turmoil that is surrounding Auburn right now. So we'll wait and see. I'd imagine that today is going to be pretty eventful to find out what's the news and what's surrounding Auburn from a standpoint of what the future is going to look like, because the stories coming out of there are wild. I mean, like, they're wild, some of the stuff that they're talking about and saying about what's been happening and what's been going down. And maybe it's people with bad blood. maybe it's people that see an opportunity to strike and get Harsin out of there with an agenda. Or maybe, just crazy over there right now. I mean, some of the stories about Ogeron were wild, man. You know what I mean? Like, some of the stuff that O was doing was nuts. So it's not outside the realm of possibility to think about what be going on. I mean, if Panamsky was a female, you know what I mean? Like,
a lot of people.
I mean, for as much time as they were spending by themselves, I mean, who knows how freaky they could have gotten?
Oh my God.
Yeah, get an NIL deal. Just call Panamsky.
Right.
But
Derek.
when you look at what happens on Harsin's staff already, he's already had 5 or 6 coaches leave. The offensive coordinator he brought in already left.
Offensive coordinator stayed 42 days.
That's good.
Derek Mason left Auburn for the Oklahoma State job. Does that make sense?
That's not even a lateral move.
You know what I mean? Like, no, that is an absolutely down move. Derek Mason was a head coach 2 years ago. The defensive coordinator at Auburn makes more sense than being the DC at Okie State.
Where they're losing players left and right.
Well, the league is losing their relevance. They're losing their legs. What are you leaving the SEC for, Derek? I don't know, but I'm not staying here.
Staying with Harsin.
You know what I mean? Like, get the hell out of here. I know that.
Stay with that
work with her too.
Right. So I mean, it's
dicey.
Yeah, it's dicey, man. I mean, it's wild.
Petrino level.
Petrino level stories.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Petrino, it was, it come to find out it was all legit. You know what I mean? Who knows? Or Harsin all alleged at this point. Nothing come out, on what. I mean, Bobby Petrino is riding down the road with his mistress on the back of his motorbike, and her husband saw them coming down the road. He traced him down and beat the ever living hell out of Petrino.
I mean,
that is the
funny.
real story. He didn't get into a bike accident. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't slip into gravel or anything. I mean, that guy chased him down and beat the hell out of him on the side of the road.
Neck brace.
The neck brace and the Sugar Bowl hat.
Unbelievable.
That's the funniest. That's the funniest part. Is the Sugar Bowl hat. Please God, for as embarrassing as this is,
Don't forget.
remember, you've been playing in the freaking Lemon Bowl. Now we're in the Sugar Bowl. Bobby, you're dead, buddy. It's over, man. You're dead man walking. You were banging a volleyball player, for God's sakes.
Well, it's not even that. It's just that he was parading her around town with her on the back of the motorcycle.
Yeah, just driving her around.
Yeah.
Just driving her around. Tommy Howard, can someone log on and explain to me what's going on? I'm just logging on. Google Bryan Harsin, Tommy, and you'll be caught up.
Look at this guy.
We're trying to side. Look at Bob.
Gosh.
Look at Bob.
That's so
dude,
awful.
he drug his head on that cement.
Definitely did.
Well,
You know,
clearly.
like he put his head on that cement and stepped on his head and
man.
drug him on his head.
Just a raw face out there.
Whew.
That's awful.
Skidding on blacktop.
So that's really the truth? I never heard that. I thought he, honest to God, got in a wreck.
I talked to somebody who was on Nate Petrino's staff that worked at LSU for a little bit, and that was like the behind the scenes real story was that it wasn't a motorcycle accident. It was they were riding down the road together, and the husband had figured that they were together, was looking for them, and went to a spot like I guess where they usually were.
Their hookup spot.
And he sees them coming down the road, cuts a U-turn, runs them off the road. Like, it gives him an ability for him. He parks the bike, and it wasn't like he wrecked the bike. Cause she was on it. You know what I mean? Like if there was an accident, she would have been
hurt also.
She'd have been messed up too, but she was fine. They parked the bike.
We know she was fine.
Yeah, I mean, there was there were pictures of her that were surfacing after that happened. I mean, she had no clear signs that she was in a motorcycle accident.
She still had skin on her face.
She didn't look like Bobby for sure. And from what I was told, bro, is that he pulled him over, boxed him in almost, got Bob's off the bike, and just worked him. And just worked the old man, dude.
So why the neck brace?
Oh, no.
I mean, I think he beat the ever-living hell out of him.
I think he wanted to play it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, but Bob, she got to play it like a motorcycle accident. Give me a neck brace. Give me the Sugar Bowl hat, though. For God's sakes, give me the Sugar Bowl hat. Daily, we're brought to you by Johnsaw and Spillers. Johnsaw and Spillers, the official dentist here over the Jordy Culotta Show. Shout out to Chad Spillers and the crew over there. Stop in and see them. They got 2 locations, one in Baton Rouge, one in Gonzales. They can help you out with all of your general dentistry needs. If you're looking for pediatric dentistry, if you're looking for just a cleaning, get over and see them. They can also help you out with some Botox. Online at johnsawspillers.com. They got great social media. Check them out on Facebook. Check them out all over social media on Instagram. But you can make an appointment online at johnsawspillers.com. johnsawspillers.com is where you can find them online. They are our dentists. Make them yours today.
Does it make you self-conscious about your teeth to talk about them? Because now we're all looking at your mouth.
No, I'm kind of over the self-conscious part because, I mean, it's unbeatable at this point. Yeah, I mean, it is. I see everyone. I know you're looking.
I don't notice it. I really don't. I mean, we made a joke about it, but I really don't notice it.
I'm missing a tooth.
I got it.
I've noticed that.
See?
Really?
So, yeah, I'm missing it.
You've not noticed that?
Tooth gang.
Tooth gang. Y'all can both go together.
Yeah.
Y'all both need to go.
Look out.
Doc, you met Jay? You met Stewie?
What's up, Doc?
Stewie, smile for him. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Lay down, Stewie.
And where did it go?
Fight?
When I was younger, I had like a smaller tooth, but it was permanent. And
my dad had that.
Yeah, and like the doctors or the dentist thought it was gonna like another tooth was gonna come out, so they took that one out.
Oh no!
Never came in, so yeah, here I am, toothless.
So you can't take care of that, bro.
Yeah.
Fred Jackson at Jordy Culotta. The staff at Auburn has known about this for a couple of days. Would this have been
it's all
hid
coming out.
at LSU? Seems like media outlets at other schools are not so locked up at the hip like y'all. I don't know, Fred.
I don't even know what does that
I don't
mean?
even know what that means. Good take there, bro.
Explain, Fred.
Wilfo72 says, "Come on home, Austin Osbury." Yes, that would be a nice get for
Bring
LSU at this
Tank
point. Man.
Bigsby with you.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, and that's another one. I mean, like the portal. You
Yeah,
would think Auburn's roster now would be just like a free-for-all.
Didn't he enter the portal and
did.
then like
Kinda
go
went back in.
Yeah.
Tank would be a good get. Brian Burgess, I'll never forget the confrontation between Miles and Petrino at the Arkansas game.
Oh, yeah,
I think
that's
that was
classic.
actually the 2011 game when
It was
and,
Tyrann Mathieu.
That's right. That
What
was
happened? I don't know
the
about
they had like some like just weird handshake. Come to find out, they were just 2 raging perverts.
Yeah, they just both were horny as hell. I'm gonna fucking
I heard you were bringing an assistant too.
We're both looking at they're both looking at the crowd for their wives like, no, we're not.
Yeah, right.
You see row 3, dude?
Yeah.
that. Why was that so unforgettable?
Because it happened during the game. So LSU, I want to say they were running up the score, but Tyrann Mathieu kept forcing like turnovers and kept scoring. And the game was like early on, it looked like Arkansas was going to pull off an upset. And then the game kind of switches. I think they were
And then
down.
Tyrann Mathieu went all Tyrann Mathieu on
he
him.
returned a punt for a touchdown. And
He hit one of those strips.
Yeah, that was at the end of the game.
Yeah.
But Bobby Petrino was over there barking at Les Miles saying, "What the bleep are you doing? Like you're running up the score."
Yeah.
And Les was just going, like, I don't know. I'm not doing anything.
Les didn't know how to run up the
No,
score.
it's like, dude, I'm just running
What
toss
is he even
dive.
saying with his hand in his ear?
Yeah.
Goofy.
Is he yelling at me?
Yeah, right.
So they met at midfield and like shook hands, and Petrino was like, mother bleeping him the entire time, and he was just like, I don't know what's going on. It's very interesting.
Gosh.
And then Petrino falls off a motorcycle.
Shemichael Thompson, sorry, I'm not reading that one. Bayou Bengal, Jordy, who do you think Austin Osbury? Do you think Austin Osbury is regretting signing with Auburn now? I probably so, but I hope that if something goes down, if something does go down with Hart, that these guys that sign letters of intent would get waivers, which would put Austin Osbury back on the recruiting trail and hopefully get LSU a chance to hire or to sign Osbury. Travis LeBlanc, they got any tight ends? Good question.
I think he's keeping that one. I think Harsin has that tight end.
They're all in Sweden.
Shane Smith, Kevin Steele has a large contingent of boosters in his corner at Auburn. In my opinion, most likely. Wow. Did he just accept the Miami defensive coordinator job? Kevin Steele?
Mm-hmm.
Did I see that? Yeah, Kevin Steele got the Miami DC job.
Cristobal.
They're throwing a bunch of money around down in South Beach right now.
They figured it out.
Yachts. They got yachts down there.
But not enough for Shamar.
Oh.
I mean, Shamar's sitting in their backyard. I mean, you would think if they were really getting serious about NIL stuff that you would look at Shamar Stewart and say, fellas,
That's the one.
if you want to be back, that's the type of players you got to get. That's the type of players Miami was pumping out by the truckloads, the yacht loads in the 90s and early 2000s. You got to get that guy. For him, Shamar Stewart, to leave South Beach and put a cowboy hat on to live in College Station, Texas for the next 3 years gives you an idea of the amount of chunk of change that Texas A&M is playing with compared to the people that think they are getting real about NIL. So LSU's got another example. I mean, if LSU was truly legitimate about NIL or organized behind the scenes on NIL, well, then you don't lose Jacoby Matthews.
Right.
Hell, you don't lose Denver Harris. Aaron Anderson, Shaz Preston, Kendrick Law. I mean, all these guys. Danny Lewis got $25,000 allegedly in NIL deals from Alabama. You know, I mean, they had something in place lined up for him to strike a deal and understand what was going to happen to him. And that's what we were talking about on National Signing Day. G was here. Gordon was here yesterday. We talked to Shea on National Signing Day. LSU has really been able to quickly get a plan together on keeping their roster in place or attacking the transfer portal. 12 guys they pull out of the transfer portal. I'd imagine that 8 of them have instant impacts on this team immediately, like day one starters. All of that stuff in the transfer portal and keeping guys like Keyshawn Butte and Mason Smith and Ali Gay and these guys that are coming back. I mean, that was all NIL deals that LSU, not LSU, but people around LSU, the boosters, were able to organize and put together. Gordon McKernan being the really leader of the charge of that department. It almost makes me wonder, do you have to have an organization set up to recruit your current roster? And then do you have to have an organization set up to recruit transfer portal and high school kids? Because the part of the assignment that LSU is failing at right now, and that they got to catch up like really, really quick, is recruiting the high school kids. And that's where Texas A&M is so far out in front of everybody. They have a plan in place. They've got a structure in place. I mean, I was talking to somebody around Jacoby Matthews' recruitment, and they were just mesmerized by how organized A&M was on just the communication of NIL. Whatever the questions were about how do we get paid, when do you receive payment, what are the specifications and the tasks that you're responsible for? I mean, some of these NIL deals have language in place that are going to travel parents' day of games in private air from Louisiana small towns to College Station, Texas, and have them back in Ponchatoula that night. But it was so organized. It was already done. It was already there. I mean, for somebody like Jacoby Matthews, you have to. We all have to understand how difficult of a decision this is for a kid like Matthews. Sam Spiegelman, I thought, painted it yesterday as clear as anybody that covers recruiting. And Spiegelman's got great relationships. Sonny Shipp's coming up here. Sonny was in Ponchatoula for the announcement on Wednesday. And Sonny knew what he was doing. He didn't think that he was going there to cover an LSU announcement. He knew he was going there to cover a Texas A&M commitment. But these guys can give you an idea because they talk to him all the time. Sam Spiegelman probably talked to Jacoby Matthews over the last year more than all of these coaches collectively. Ogeron, Saban, Fisher, Brian Kelly, Frank Wilson, Pete Golding, all of them. Spiegelman is talking to these guys all the time. I mean, look at their social media. When they make an announcement, they're usually tagging Shay, Billy, Sammy. And Sam said it yesterday. This is a decision that is going to haunt Jacoby Matthews probably until he leaves to go to College Station. And who knows what it's going to do to him when he gets to that campus, knowing that his heart is back home. But as a kid, which we all used to celebrate, right? College football, they're still student athletes. You're still young. You get to choose where you want to go. You choose them. At the next level, they choose you. Well, now the process of you choosing them has become a business. And you grow up loving a school. Jacoby Matthews is the example I'm using, but there are a laundry list of examples in every town and college across the country, or at least the Southeastern Conference right now, of kids that grew up loving a place. Denver Harris's stepdad told us right here on this show a month ago, Harris dreamed about running out of the chute on a Saturday night in Tiger Stadium. But now it's a business. When A&M sat down in the living room, they took all of those dreams and they turned them into dollar signs. And said, yeah, but when you run onto the playing surface at LSU in 2 seasons, when we go visit them, you're going to have $50,000 in your bank account. Or you're going to have X amount of money that you have access to, that they've already got spelled out and showing them on paper. This is how it's going to work. This is how it's going to be the transaction. This is the date when it's going to take place. The part that is mesmerizing everybody around Texas A&M right now is just how tight they are, how organized they are. I mean, listen to LSU. Cody Worsham was here yesterday. Gordon McKernan was here yesterday. We heard from Brian Kelly, Jay Johnson, and Scott Woodward about it, about NIL stuff. They're all still trying to grasp it. They're all still trying to put their arms around it. Like, what can we do? What can we not do? How do you do this? How do you do that? How do you talk to them? How do you lead them over there? When do you have this conversation? All that stuff's figured out in A&M in Texas. And that's what LSU has to figure out in the next 6 months before you get to a next recruiting cycle where you got to sit down in front of somebody and you got to spell out, this is the business of your son. And this is how we're going to help him get there. Because I think if you even make a competitive pitch to Jacoby Matthews and Denver Harris, you get the guys. And I think that's what they had to do to Harold Perkins. I think there was a lot of behind the scenes of, yeah, sure, got it. Yep, no doubt. We'll take care of it. Yep, got it. All of it. Yes. Yep. Yeah. Yes.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. How much? Yes. I mean,
you got to get one. You had to get one from that class, right? You had to get especially one guy with Louisiana ties.
Right.
Y'all talked about what happened with Alabama, how they have, 4 Louisiana skill position players that are going to go over there and probably play day one. Like, they're going to at least vie for playing time. Then you see Jacoby Matthews leave to Texas A&M. Like, Harold Perkins was pretty – you see Javonte Citizen go to Miami. There was one – you had to get one guy from this class that at least felt a little Louisiana. Harold
Absolutely.
Perkins having New Orleans
and look,
ties.
there has – and one thing that has to be said, too, here, and I see all the comments. Anthony Archibald, Jordy is beating this dead horse. Rico Delgado, it's always about the money. Jordy, we get it on the NIL stuff. Move on. Jeff Jones, we get it. Move on. I hear you, but we're still just kind of – the smoke and dust is still settling from what's going on, and some of the stories of how these guys were really recruited are really now starting to come out about how really LSU lost. And another part of it, and Billy Embody's got a great write-up on it, and there's some stuff that he's talking about on 3 Sports of how the relationships between some of the big money boosters and LSU football has been fractured over the last couple of years. And speaking of beating dead horses, I'm not trying to bring back up anything because everybody knows how I feel about the last regime and what was going on there. But I'm telling you that Ogeron and Panamsky did more damage than any NCAA penalty could ever do. Ever. If you look at the scholarship limitations that they've been playing with, the people that they're trying to restore and replenish on the roster, that alone is a daunting task. And then having to go to your support group and the people that you count on to help you with money and stuff and conversations that are tough to really have. I mean, they're difficult conversations to go and sit in front of somebody and continually ask them for money. And where LSU is right now with some of the biggest money boosters is a fractured relationship that needs repair. So not only are you behind the 8 ball from the NIL stuff and you're you're replenishing your coaching staff, and you're trying to get into the transfer portal, and you're trying to keep your roster maintained. You're also trying to repair the relationships between you and the big money people. I mean, it's been a hell of an onboarding for Brian Kelly. It really has. Which, again, makes me really step back and say they got the guy. They got the right person, because he's really adapted and handled a lot of the things thrown his way that he may not have known were as serious going into the job as he realized that they are now that he's on the job, or maybe even some of the things that he didn't even know existed, like booster relations that ultimately fall at his feet that he's got to repair. I mean, I don't know a lot about the Notre Dame history and boosters, but I got to imagine that they are very much dialed in and locked in to the Notre Dame head football coach. Down at LSU, there's a lot of politics around that position. And for somebody from the outside to come in and not really understand it and be thrown into the mix of a lot of drama and turmoil during the time that he starts, it's got to be pretty crazy. I mean, I can't wait to read Brian Kelly's book about the first 100 days on the job at LSU. You know, I mean, like, just to hear him in a decade or 15 years just be like, good Lord, I had no idea. The mess that I was walking into, forget just the football stuff. With the coaches, the personnel, the roster management, all that. It's a daunting task to restore that in the SEC West. Got to recruit your state. You got NIL stuff. You don't have the relationship set up in NIL, so you really don't know where to start because you got to keep your roster. Keyshawn Butte wants to go to Bama. What you going to do? I don't know. What do I do? what do I need to do? Gordon McKernan says he'll help. Get him on the phone. I mean, first things first, you got to save him. I mean, think about if Butte's winning the Biletnikoff and Crimson. That was real for a minute. You know, I mean, Kirby Smart's blowing up Mason Smith, allegedly. But all that stuff's happening. Somebody's got to step up and save those guys from going somewhere else. I mean, college football is a totally different beast than it was 6 months ago, 3 months ago. I mean, the stuff that they have to, it really is. I mean, the way that I look at Harold Perkins is that you got him for his freshman year.
Right.
I love Harold Perkins. I can't wait to see him play, but I expect there to be some type of drama around Perkins at some point. So, you know, I mean.
Would you say that this has anything to do with what they had to do in order to get Orgeron out and Brian Kelly kind of paid up? Like there maybe wasn't you talked about a war chest earlier in the year to be able to go get and go pay off these, I guess, quote unquote debts that you have to Orgeron so he can go away. Then you bring in Brian Kelly on this huge deal. And now is there just not really the money that you thought you had for NIL, or they just weren't really prepared?
No, they don't have the organization of NIL.
Right, because they were so locked in on the coaching changes.
Man, they had to save so many other things first. They had to go get Miles Frazier out of the transfer portal. You know what I mean? Look up, you see Miles Frazier standing in G's office taking a picture with G.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now you know how they got Miles Frazier. You know what I mean? Same thing with big wide receiver from Lafayette.
Lacey?
Yeah, Kyron Lacey. I mean, look up. He's in Gordon's office taking a picture. I mean, okay, so now you're starting to see how these transfer portals, how these recruits, how these guys, Keyshawn Butte, Malik Neighbors, both yesterday doing live Instagram feeds from Gordon's office.
Judge, jury, and executioner.
You know what I mean, though? But somebody's got to step up, and that's happening all over the country. Those guys are still in contact with recruits that they were going through the process with in Gainesville and Athens and College Station and Oxford and Starkville and all over the place. Hey, man, I'm getting this. Hey, I'm getting that. Hey, I got this. You know, they're hanging up and saying, man, I'm
getting nothing.
I want in.
Yeah.
Keem, Jordy, get involved in NIL.
Staff.
We're trying to. We are.
Doesn't LSU have a dedicated staff to this? I mean, isn't this what Cody was talking to us about yesterday?
They're putting it together.
Yes. Like they're organized. And I think that LSU has the resources, the people, the vision, the foresight to get this done pretty quickly. You know,
they've been talking about it for a while.
They've been talking about it for a while, but nothing can energize, motivate people within those departments that we're talking about better than Wednesday did. There can be no better recruit. I mean, we asked it directly to Cody off of a listener's question yesterday, and I hate that I forgot the name, but I want to credit the listener. I believe it was Robert Miller who said, man, look, just point blank, is this meetings and all this stuff going to prevent LSU from losing players like Jacoby Matthews? And credit Cody, he answered the question directly. He said, absolutely. That's why Brian Kelly was there. That's why Jay Johnson is there. That's why Scott Woodward is closing up, the discussion a couple of nights ago that had 500 people there, very influential business people from around the campus, from around the business community, on how this has to become relevant very quickly, or LSU will find themselves in the middle to the back of the pack of the SEC overnight, because Texas A&M is the standard. That's the model. They're so airtight, organized, and structured from an NIL standpoint, but there are people behind the scenes in schools around the country, and specifically around the conference, that are very much following that model and closer than LSU is. And LSU's got to get there. Texas is there. Texas A&M, like we talked about, is there. Alabama, obviously, is doing some things behind the scenes that are getting people. I mean, if they're paying people like Danny Lewis, kids like Danny Lewis, $25,000, which Lewis wasn't even on Alabama's board a month ago. I mean, think about the life of Danny Lewis over the last 3 months. At one point, he was committed to Cincinnati. LSU was throwing rose petals at his feet for 2 weeks trying to get him here to Baton Rouge, and he ends up at Bama. And they're paying him $25K, allegedly. NIL stuff. Everything's over the table, because I don't know specific, but I mean, I'm hearing that everything, the same thing people are. But, I know that money exchanged hands between Bama and Lewis. I know that money was promised from an NIL standpoint from Bama to Lewis.
I just don't know why LSU thought that it would be any different than what it is right now. Like, why did you not think it would just be what you're, like, the dirty side of recruiting just brought above board? Why do you think you needed a plan in place? It's like, no, just pay the kids. Like, you could figure it all out later, because nobody's going to – there's no rules yet. You can't get in trouble.
Right.
So they just kind of sat on their hands a little bit. Then you watch it all happen around you, go,
we
got to get in the game.
Yeah.
What has plagued LSU more than anything over the last decade? Or even you could point it back to before that. Themselves, compliance.
Yes.
I mean, they have cut their own legs out despite what their goals were numerous times. I mean, they have from Dare Rosenthal to Tyrann Mathieu to everything in between. And I think that this is another example of, I don't know if we can do that. Let's wait to see if we can do that. Let's not try and do that. Well, we're under investigation here. Let's not do that. Okay. I mean, I get it that there's a lot to protect. But when you look up and Alabama and A&M are lapping you and coming into your state and cherry picking, I mean, Alabama's got the top 4 pass catchers in the state going to their school. Think about that. They've got the top 4 pass catchers in the state of Louisiana going to Alabama on a roster that is loaded at wide receiver.
Just left a national championship.
Loaded at wide receiver. And they come into Louisiana and get the top 4 pass catchers in the state. That's not how you win championships. The people that are listening to this podcast want LSU to win championships, SEC national championships. So do we. It's great for business. We pull for LSU. We want them to succeed. The way that they succeed is that they got to get Shaz Preston and Danny Lewis. They got to get Kendrick Law. They got to get Jacoby Matthews. Those guys can't be playing for Texas A&M and Alabama. And when you're only losing them because of organizational stuff behind the scenes that, are business tactics that are now legal in recruiting, you've got to take advantage of it. Daily, we're brought to you by Edward Jones and Daniel Newman. Daniel Newman is located out in central Louisiana. Stop and see him. We are a go for next Saturday's tailgate, LSU Mississippi State on February 12th. We will be going live 3:30, not live as far as content goes. The tailgate will kick off
Lloyd just
at
had
3:30.
a panic attack over there.
Yeah, sorry.
Eyebrow raise.
3:30 is
We could do it.
yes, we will have the tailgate. Daniel.Newman at edwardjones.com. Get in touch with him, 225-261-8262. 225-261-8262. Tommy Howard, Jordy's negativity is ruining my high.
High from what?
You should be on that popcorn, bud, from the state, from Relief Med. I can't ruin that. But I am not trying to ruin anybody's buzz, man. And I'm not trying to be negative. I'm really not. I want LSU to get it together. I don't want to lose Jacoby Matthews. I don't want to lose Kendrick Law. I don't want to lose Shaz Preston. I mean, think about that. That's how all of the championships that LSU has won, played for, has been the nucleus of it, has been Louisiana kids. Always. 03, 07, playing in the game in 11, back in 19. I love Joe Burrow more than anybody, but you look at that roster, it's made up of the Patrick Queens and Christian Fultons and Derek Stingleys and people that are from Louisiana. You got to get those guys, man. You got to have a plan in place that if your competition, and they do. I'm not trying to beat the dead horse, and I'm not trying to be negative. I'm really not. I'm just trying to be honest with you and assess where LSU is as far as just being a couple of clicks behind where the dominant people are in NIL. And LSU's got to get there because their state is the one that everybody's rating.
I mean, Texas A&M so far ahead. They got high school kids coming in from juniors. Going.
I mean, you forget they got Le'Veon Moss.
Yeah.
They got the number one running back in Baton Rouge in the state. You know, one of the top in the state. Him and Javonte Citizen flip a coin. You know, I mean, it's.
They're getting a junior to reclassify. Like, do you think that happens without NIL? I doubt it.
Absolutely. KMC 50, LSU has recruited a number 6 overall class in a transition year. Relax, they are fine. You're right. That is an excellent point. For what they did pull off this recruiting season, very much a win. I mean, the transfer portal to the addition of the 15 high school players. What I love about the high school players is that all 15 of them, just about all 15 of them, are dogs. I mean, like, future cornerstones of the program. Will Campbell, Emory Jones, I mean, those guys could end up at SEC Media Days. Quincy Wiggins might be the number 1 pick in the draft if he buds into what people think he could potentially be. Walker Howard comes into LSU as one of the top passers in the country. I mean, there are players littered all over this class. And for them to be ranked number 6 in the country after what they've dealt with and gone through is very much a win.
It is.
Very much a win. Very much a win. But to think that they had opportunities and really should have closed Danny Lewis, Jacoby Matthews, too, at the end, and they should have gotten one of those guys, Kendrick Law, Shaz Preston, Aaron Anderson. Just give me one. One. And they couldn't get one because they didn't have the business behind the scenes put together. That's where they got to get better. That's where they got to get better. And if they get better there, you get one of those 3 guys. You get Danny Lewis and you get Jacoby Matthews along with Harold Perkins. And now, how much better are you feeling right now? How much better is that buzz, T. Howard?
Still
You know what I
better
mean?
than Auburn.
Think about if you come off that bong knowing that Jacoby Matthews is going to be playing safety for you next year. Aaron Anderson's returning punts. Whew. Anderson's a game breaker, bro.
Game changer.
He is a game breaker.
He was committed to LSU.
Yeah.
Do you think we could not get one of those guys back maybe through the
Portal?
transfer portal?
Possibly. Yeah. No, I think that LSU has time to get this thing right because the portal's going to be littered next year, man.
Oh, my God. Especially with A&M kids.
Like a Danny Lewis? Like,
you would
I
think.
mean, with the
Possibly.
money that they gave him?
Possibly.
LSU could come back with
Possibly.
something?
Maybe it eats at Matthews so much living in that Cowtown, College Station that he's like, I got to
Living
go
in the
home.
cold.
I don't even get to fly.
I got to go home.
He's listening to the midnight yell from
I
his
didn't
dorm.
get access to the PJ.
Right.
I mean, maybe by then Frank Wilson's got a driving service and can go pick up parents in Ponchatoula and bring them back to Tiger Stadium on game day.
Get a jet.
PJ Clemens, man, just stop. Let it go. All right, PJ, I'm over it.
You know what I'm saying? We could be Auburn today. Could be worse.
Right. Could always be worse.
I'm sure they're happy that this is happening, though. I don't think anybody liked old Harsin over there. Really burnt
think
some
they're
bridges.
happy that
Yeah, I
it's
think they wanted him
happening?
out.
I think so too. Yeah. Well, I
Maybe
mean,
not like
Harsin.
this,
She's not happy.
Harsin is
Blew up her
considered,
spot.
even by league standards, as an outsider. Not even Auburn standards, by the league standard, as an outsider. Even when they hired him last year, I think it felt kind of like even everybody in the competition was like, "All right, good hire, bro.
Yeah, move the needle.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, keep Bryan Harsin.
Boise
Like
State?
who?
Yeah.
You're gonna take Boise State's coach? So I think the rest of the SEC is kind of pointing and whispering and kind of smirking at Auburn while Harsin's been the coach. And on the plains, they have felt that. I think that a lot of people have been like, it's time for this guy to go. We screwed up. We messed up. I mean, don't forget over the last 3 years, Gus Malzahn was making $49 million. He signed a $49 million extension to keep him in Auburn. And a couple years later, they're paying him $21 just to get the hell out of there.
He's got UCF
50% of it they got to pay within the first 30 days.
And this is why they have to go after him for cause. Auburn isn't made of money. They're like, at some point, we got to stop paying these cats. And Bryan Harsin, who's this little recruit girl that you brought over with you from Boise? Let's look into that a little bit. I'm sure they were tailing him, and he didn't even know.
I'm sure.
Up at the third floor in the library.
But Auburn's got big money. Big money.
But he just gave him $60 million.
No doubt. I mean, but like the CEO of Apple
Tim Cook.
is Auburn.
Yeah, fix the
Right.
phones.
About that.
Yellowwood.
I don't know what
Big
that
big
is.
Yellowwood
Oh,
is
that's
like
an
the
Auburn person?
biggest lumber distributor in the southeast.
You've seen the billboards
Yeah,
everywhere.
you've seen
They're yellow.
Yellow wood.
and they say it yellow.
Yeah,
Yellow.
they say yellow. It's
Yellowwood.
yellow.
Yella.
Yellowwood.
Yellowwood. He's a big Auburn guy. In fact, I think he was the one that was Harsin,
Oh, that was his pool?
right?
Oh,
I think he
really?
was the one that
Oh.
told Napier, "We're going to hire your staff." He's like, "No, you're not.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
out.
Now you're not even going to hire me.
I'm going back to Lafayette. See you later, man.
I'll be in Florida.
Food's much better down there anyway." All right, we're going to talk to Sonny Shipp here in 5 minutes. We'll talk more recruiting with Sonny. We will zero in to locally talk to Sonny about some of the stories that he got here on National Signing Day. We're also going to talk to Nathan Velasquez and Coach Mark Schlesinger. Swords up as the Privateers were winners 9 of the last 10 as the UNO Privateers. LSU basketball, a huge game tomorrow. Will Wade not painting the picture that everybody was looking for yesterday at his press briefing, as it looks like Pinson is going to miss more time. He also went in to how serious and how setback Murray has been with the hand injury, and then Eric Gaines was playing with the wrist. Did you know that? Did you know that he'd been banged up? So add another one to the injury list for LSU, as they've really kind of broken down here in the middle of the season. And I know that this is something that is haunting Will Wade with this part of the schedule coming up, because this is where they need to make a run to really solidify what their postseason seeding is going to look like. Tomorrow is a must-win basketball game in Nashville. You don't care who's getting off the bus, who's on the bench. Every man's got to be in there ready to play, especially if they're going to be down. But for the program standard, where they are right now from a mental standpoint, same thing I said last week going in to the A&M game and going into the weekend, they've got to stabilize that. They've got to get back on the winning track, man. They've got to start to set themselves up as a winning program. That comes with a mentality. That comes with a confidence. When you're winning, no matter if you're winning by 1, you're winning ugly, or you're beating people by 15 and 20 throwing half-court lobs. If you're winning, the state of mind of the program and the mentality of the locker room is in a good place. He also talked about Justice Williams dealing with a toe injury, so another injury that they're dealing with right now. But when you lose like LSU has the past couple of games, 5 of the last 6, they've fallen. Really more than anything, the mental makeup is really what you're kind of concerned about with a basketball team, because it can be very fragile at times. I mean, just the way that you can win and lose a basketball game within a tenth of a second, and a ball just kind of bouncing a wacky way off of a rim and falling or not going. I mean, it's a very emotional, dramatic type game, and for LSU to experience the down times that they have over the last couple of weeks, their mental state needs a win more than anything tomorrow. Memorial Gymnasium is a tough place to play. Vanderbilt has not played overall good basketball, but they're a team that you have to watch out for. Jordan Wright, who's a local kid out of the Dunham School, graduated in Stingley's class. Stingley was obviously the headline football player, and Jordan Wright was a headline basketball player that ended up at Vanderbilt. He and Scottie Pippen Jr. Are really kind of the two that stir Vanderbilt, and they've been playing pretty good. They played Vanderbilt. They played Kentucky really solid the other night. Now Kentucky ended up throttling them at the end, but they played them well for a majority of that game, and will put pressure on LSU tomorrow because they can score. And LSU, so their defense with the lack of depth and the inability to make shots, which Coach Wade said, the best part of their defense is that press. And the easiest way to get into a press is to make shots. Because when you make shots, you can set your defense up. But when you miss shots like LSU has, and LSU's missed bunnies, they've missed easy ones, putbacks, point-blank range shots, it gives an opportunity for other teams to get out and run, and you can't set that pressure up. So, LSU it's kind of same old story. But, more than anything, we can talk scheme, we can talk knocking down shots, who's going to be available. Nobody really knows. It seems like it's going to be a game-time decision on a couple of people. Pinson looks like he's definitely going to be out. But as for everybody else, you just kind of wait and see who you got tomorrow, and you just go with what you got.
Lloyd, who's the fan who's voiced her frustration with all the fouls to Will Wade? What's that story?
Oh, no, he was at Will Wade Unfiltered last night, so I guess that somebody spoke up to him, because he takes questions on on an open forum.
Yeah.
And I'd imagine that's what happened. Some lady was like, "What are you gonna do about the fouls?" And he goes into obviously he knows the stats about Vanderbilt's ability to garner fouls on the offensive end. So he's like, "Get ready for tomorrow. It's gonna be more of the same essentially." Yeah. So I think the more impressive thing that came out of that was. He was like, I would rather talk about NIL stuff than I want to talk about this new gymnasium. And then you hear about that, and then Alabama releases plans to have a new gym. So,
are they really?
LSU was just we got to pick the ball up a little bit, boys.
$180 million rollout they had.
Alabama
for a new basketball facility.
Aren't they getting a new baseball stadium too?
Yeah, good things happen when you win.
Jeez, I guess so.
A lot of money comes in.
Yeah,
Sabanville.
I mean,
that's what they will rename Tuscaloosa here shortly. They should have his name on every building, and really and truly,
they will at some point.
He's underpaid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, Sonny Shipp coming up here next.
What I mean.
The Jordy Culotta Show brought to you by Go Chevrolet, GEAUX Chevrolet.com, LaPlace, and in Baton Rouge. Go Express Auto Sales. We will talk to Sonny Shipp next here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Do you have questions about your finances? Are you looking for recommendations from a skilled financial advisor? Get in touch with our friend Daniel Newman over at Edward Jones. You can find him easily by logging online and shooting him an email at daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. That is daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. Whether it is help with your 401k or just fiscal advice heading into the new season, get in touch with Daniel today. Best way to do it? Email him, daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. He's our experienced financial advisor. Let him be yours, daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022, 225-485-8022 is where you can find Abear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Papa Earl's, the fine spice, originating right down here in South Louisiana by our guy Mark Pop Norman. Developed it back in 2018 and won Amazon's Newcomer of the Year in 2019. They pride themselves in having 30% less salt and sodium than the leading brands at the same price point. You can find them locally. Look for Papa Earl's at Rouse's, Calandro's, Mathern's, High Neighbor, and more.
Oh, whoops.
That hair, though.
Great hair.
I mean,
Sure.
just a lot of hair.
It's a lot
I
of
guess
It's
I
a
would
lot.
say.
To people with no hair, he's got great hair. Welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Quick move in first hour as we talked a lot about recruiting and the story that seems to be budding over at Auburn, Alabama. Auburn, of course, signed, I believe, the number 18 class in the country. Austin Osbury was a part of that class, somebody that was very high on LSU. We'll wonder if something does go down with Harsin, what that will do to the class of commitments for the Plainsmen. Some of the commitments that we will talk about here with Sonny Shipp. If you have a question, jump inside of the bunker. If you have a question for Sonny Shipp about anybody in this class or a future class, jump in. But it's always good to catch up with our friend, OG Sonny Shipp of Go247 Sports, as he has got great stuff that you can read online and on Twitter at Sonny Shipp. Yo, bro, good morning. How are you?
What's up, brother?
Good to talk to you, man. I guess
Yeah, man. Freezing, huh?
it is freezing, bro. It's
Freezing.
Katie said something about a possibility of snow,
That's what they said this morning.
which
to
I'm
run the
out.
pipes?
I'm out.
You have to trip the
Yeah,
pipes?
we would need to. We would
yeah,
need
we
to do
do
that.
need
Made
to
that
because it's
mistake.
going to get colder.
Sonny, still kind of a opportunity for you to exhale after all of signing day madness kind of behind you. Or are you still kind of on the come down of following this crazy cycle?
Man, I tell you what, dude. It's kind of like once Thursday hit, it's like okay, is it really over? You know, and your body is still like you said, you know, in that fight or flight mode. And then Friday morning you wake up and you're like, oh damn, it really is over. What do I do now? And so that's kind of where it is now. Thankfully, my neighbor asked me if I could put her 6-year-old on the bus this morning. And after being outside in that for 10 minutes, dude, I'm raring and ready to go now.
Back at it.
Little spunk.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's freezing outside.
It is,
man.
Sonny. It's crazy, bro. I hate the cold weather. Most surprising part of Wednesday for you, LSU landing Harold Perkins or missing out on the other three that were on the board, the primary three?
You know, the thing that just totally got me that I didn't see coming at all was Trevante Citizen to Miami.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to go to Florida, and so for Miami to kind of scoop in there that late and get him in there, you know, Mario Cristobal, we always heard about how good of a recruiter he was, and you know, we knew how good he was at Oregon when he was at Miami as an assistant. And to get in there and to get that job done in quick fashion like that, that was pretty impressive. But you know, I think going as crazy as it sounds, is going into signing day like that night. It was like Harold Perkins. I could feel the optimism and hear the optimism coming from the LSU side. But then there was that part of me that says, man, you can't trust anything with this recruitment. You know, when you've got families that are at odds, and you've got some tussling that you want him over here, some tussling that you want him over here, you never know how those are going to turn out. But the Jacoby Matthews thing was probably one of the weirdest, you know, to break it down like that. And that's strictly because, you know, LSU had some reasons to feel confident even as early as Wednesday morning. And then, I mean, it seemed like with the flip of a switch, it was just like, you know, like sources told us it's over. And we're like, what? You know, like really that quick? And you knew Texas A&M was surging from the night before, but you figured that, okay, LSU had overtaken Texas A&M in his recruitment. You know, LSU was kind of, you know, inching out a little bit more after the official visit and stuff like that. And so that was probably the weirdest, is just seeing how quickly that flipped on a dime.
Was he the biggest miss, Matthews, for LSU out of the state this year? I mean, they lost the four top pass catchers, and they lost Matthews. Who was the biggest miss this year?
You know, it's a close one. If you look at it from a need standpoint, I mean, having those receivers would be nice, but I mean, look at LSU's depth chart at receiver right now. You know, it's loaded. You look at running back. I mean, you've got 6 running backs in the room if you count Josh Williams as being one of them, you know, if he's still on scholarship. And so Trevante Citizen going to Miami, I think he's going to be a good college back, and I think he's going to have a really nice career. But when you look at the running back room at LSU, I don't think they're going to miss a beat. Danny Lewis is one that, from a need standpoint, LSU just really needs tight ends in the worst kind of way. But he was probably 2 years, maybe 3 down the road from really being an impactful guy in the SEC. Whereas Jacoby Matthews, even with LSU safety depth, I think he would have come in there, and I think he would have come in there, and he could have helped you out. Yeah. I think he could have come and helped you out, and not only from the safety standpoint, but he's also a guy that he's always been borderline linebacker. He's kind of had to fight and work to keep his weight down. So he's a guy who could easily get up to 210, 215 pounds in college, in my opinion. And so he's one of those guys. With the transfer portal the way it is now, I like versatility, and I like versatility for a couple of reasons. Okay, if you're not making it a safety, you can put on 10 pounds and play some linebacker. Okay, I have a chance to keep you out of the transfer portal now. If you're a safety all the way, you're not seeing any progress. You're not seeing any room to move up. You can't play nickel. You're very, you don't offer the position versatility that some other players do. Well, then I'm probably going to lose you to the transfer portal. And so I really think that going forward, you're going to kind of start seeing not more of an emphasis made in terms of who they recruit or how they recruit, but I think you're going to see more of a little bit of an emphasis into some of these guys who can play multiple positions. Because college football, in my opinion, it has gone to where you never really – you had Champ Bailey who played offense plays and but you've never really had that many guys. Woodson, a few guys, Stingley. There was talk he could end up doing it, but he never did. But you have never really had those guys who really played both ways. And I wonder if that could be one of the waves coming up, within the next 5 or 10 years, that you start seeing more guys actually playing both ways. And I wonder if some of that's going to have to do with the transfer portal and guys just being a little more flexible as far as their positions go.
John Quavi has a question for Sonny. #AskSonny. He asks, Sonny, what's the LSU offensive line prospects for 2023 looking like? What's the state of offensive line in Louisiana looking like in this cycle?
Well, I tell you what, it's actually not looking bad at all. And if you can do that 2 years in a row, that's good. You've got over at De La Salle outside of New Orleans, you've got a big offensive tackle, Caden Jones. Ed Orgeron and his staff offered him after he worked out at camp last summer. I haven't heard if he has been re-offered by the new staff, but I have a suspicion that he will. 6'7", 275, 280 pounds. Doesn't have a lot of fat on him or anything. Really has that good-looking body that you want to see in some mesh protectors. A lot of length, some flexibility. St. Aug, there's a kid at St. Aug, an offensive tackle that LSU just offered over there. You've got a big monster up at Neville High School, Zalance Herb. We've got him as a defensive tackle right now. I think in the database, but he plays both ways. But he's the guy. I think he's going to be one of the nation's best offensive tackles. So when you look inside the state, there's really some good pieces for LSU to start off with and to kind of work around and build around.
Sonny Shipp is joining us here from Go247. Make sure you are following him on Twitter at Sonny Shipp to keep up with the latest of what's going on in recruiting. Sonny, the 15 high school kids that they signed in this cycle, I know that there was a need for more and that the state was very healthily talented in this recruiting cycle. But when you look at the 15 they got, how much quality did they get in those signings?
Well, I think they got a lot of quality. I think when you start looking at, when you're looking at guys who could potentially play early, I think there's several guys in that class. I think you start on the offensive line. You look at Will Campbell, Emory Jones. Those are two guys who have always been a little bit advanced as far as relative to other people in their class and that they played against. And so you wonder if that's going to continue to happen as they get into LSU. I think that both of them with LSU's situation on the offensive line, You've got so many guys who have never stepped up who are now going to have to be asked to step up. You guys like Thomas Perry, Cardell Thomas. You could go down the list of guys like that, Anthony Bradford, and so on. And so I think Campbell and Emory Jones, if they come in and if they're getting with it and if they're hitting the weights and if they really take the off season training program as serious as I think they will. I think both of them are going to have just as good of a chance to get in there and to make an impression on Brad Davis and Brian Kelly, just as easy as the other guy, the older veterans who are going to be there. And then I think when you start looking at, you look at a guy like Harold Perkins and you think about how Matt House used Josh Allen, and then you go back and you watch Harold Perkins' highlights and you see how much he rushes off the edge, you see how fast he is, how athletic he is, how dynamic he is. I think it's going to be hard to keep him off of the field. Michael Baskerville, it's great that he came back. Is he going to be eligible? That's going to be a big question that he's going to have to, answer over this spring and into the summer and stuff. But, assuming that he is, you think him and Mike Jones have the best chance of starting. But, let's say that Michael Baskerville, he doesn't get his academics in order. Now, all of a sudden, Harold Perkins is a guy who could potentially be tossed in there with Mike Jones. And so I think he's another impact guy that you have to circle. And then, really, like I was telling somebody yesterday, any cornerback with a pulse who's on the roster is going to have a chance. Granted, the transfers are going to have a leg up and the experience factor and all of that. But, I mean, man, if you're a cornerback, you got to feel good about your chances of, hell, at least making the 3D. I think there's only 6 on scholarship right now, So there are some – I think there's several there's several places to where guys from this class are going to come in and who are going to have a chance to, to get on the field in year one of Brian Kelly.
They have 6 spots remaining. Do you think that they fill those after spring? 5. I'm sorry, there's 5. Do you think they fill those after spring?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. And I think when you go through and when you look at the roster, I think it's all about, you're trying to add some depth now. The odds of getting a really, an impact starter, you might be able to get one who decides to leave after the spring, but I think you're probably going to be looking at situations to where you're adding guys for depth. You're adding guys who have multiple years of eligibility left. You look at tight end, you look at cornerback, you look at linebacker, you look at the offensive line. I mean, if there's an interior offensive lineman out there who can play center, absolutely. I mean, work an NIL deal up to that dude, man. Jordy Culotta get in the game. Come on, man.
No doubt. I mean, because it's like you say with cornerback. If there's a center in sight, he can play. You can play. Trey Holly.
He's more than anybody else on the roster right now.
No doubt about it. Trey Holly out of Union Parish, number 1 running back in the state next year. LSU high on him, right? Especially now that Wilson's back.
Yeah. LSU offered him under Ed Orgeron, and then he was actually one of the first re-offers that went out when Brian Polian got out on the road. Brian Polian was up in North Louisiana, stopped by the high school, and they made sure that they knew that he had been re-offered. The same with the 2023 linebacker out of Manny Tackett Curtis. And man, I tell you what, dude, if you have you watched his highlights?
His film is crazy, dude.
I mean, it's amazing, man. It's amazing. And he gave me and I talked to him probably about a week ago or so. And after he posted those junior highlights, I was like, dude, those are some of the most violent clips I think I've ever seen. I mean, he looks for somebody to hit.
He does.
Somebody's going to get hit. It might be his teammate, or it might be somebody on another team. But that dude is going to hurt somebody. I mean, hit somebody, and it ain't easy. One of the best things, I was like, what is your mentality when you're out there? I was like, because you look like a madman, basically, is what I wanted to say. And he said, I love football because I can just let all my physicality and my aggression out when I get out there. Wow. He said, and he basically said, I just want to hit somebody. Yes. I'm going to hit somebody on every play. And I was like, man, you are just like, I mean, your mindset is what every linebacker in the country should have.
His highlight film looks like mid '80s, early '90s type stuff, like Bosworth.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like when you're like, Jesus, this guy's gonna kill somebody out here.
He's jumping over the pile.
Great stuff.
It's amazing. And what's crazy, man, is this is one of those cases to where it is so totally a case where a kid flips the script because off the field, he's so nice.
I love that.
He's so humble and just seems like a great kid, man. But you put him on the field and you're like, good God, man. You as an opposing guy, you probably hate to play them because you're like, man, that dude's gonna hit me.
Oh no, he's definitely the dude in warm up. Sure, like I'm staying away from Tim. I don't want nothing to do with number 10. Bro.
You watch film before the game, you're like, oh, Tim's
he's probably
coming.
barking before the snap and stuff. I mean, he looks like that dude out there. All right, I know that. Right, ankle coach. I don't know where it came from. Last one, I'll get you out of here because I know nothing official at Auburn. Nothing's going down, but there's a lot of smoke about what's going on with Harsin. Let's just say he doesn't make it through the day, and these commitments, these signees are back out on the market. Did LSU set themselves up in a good spot with Austin Osbury where they could get back into the conversation?
Well, you know, I'm gonna lean on you here because I think you're probably a little bit closer to his recruitment maybe than I am and than I got because it really seemed like LSU kind of slow played Austin kind of the whole time and kind of the impression that I'd gotten and and it could be wrong but under their recruitment it just seemed like it almost seemed like, hey, we're recruiting you because of your last name, but we don't really want you. That was kind of the impression.
Or taking for granted that they were going to get him.
Or that kind of either or. But it just didn't seem like that it was like, okay, y'all do realize who they are and who's coming up, right? It's like, he's got a pretty good brother too. We want to make sure we set ourselves up for as well. But I think that LSU. I think that Brian Kelly coming in and Brian Kelly, kind of saying like, look, whatever happened before. We want you. I think that probably will set LSU up to be in the best situation going forward with him. And when I look at Austin, I've always viewed Austin as more of a safety in college,
I agree.
long term.
I agree. He moves like a safety.
Yeah, exactly. And so then on the flip side of that, so then it's like, okay, Jacoby, now you went to Texas A&M. Okay, well we kind of replaced what we missed out on right there. But it's going to be interesting to see that what happens with Auburn right there. Here's an interesting question: is that okay? Auburn's going to be in a crunch. Auburn's going to be in a pinch. They're going to have to do something pretty quickly. Would Auburn possibly look out at Coach O and say, "Hey, can you come right the ship for 1 year?"
Wow! Coach O, intern for hire. That's a perfect role for him.
I mean, could Auburn do a hell of a lot worse?
I mean,
they have in the past.
If Ogeron was smart, he would sell himself as an interim coach because that's when he does his best work. If you need just a patch-up job, if you need a Band-Aid, pay me. I'll come in. I'll write it. I'll get out of there.
Keep that girl on staff for me.
That's right.
If he would go in and get them to 7-5, even 8-4,
he'd get an extension.
Dude, he would have a huge payday after that.
I mean, just
a huge payday after that.
He'd be a band.
If you're Auburn and you're looking for short-term fixes out there, okay, who can get us into 2023? I mean, who else would be better out there?
Especially at this point in the calendor. That's the part that's going to kill him. That's the part that's going to kill him.
Given all the circumstances that you have to work with, who else is going to be out there that you're really going to have a chance to go out and woo? Now, I'm sure Matt Campbell and these guys, guys like that, who Auburn comes in and says, look, we'll double you, we can double what Iowa State's paying you and stuff like that. That would obviously, I'm sure that would be attractive. But when you're talking about the situation you're in right now, I don't think anyone out there who's at an established place would be a no-brainer to just leave for a little more money at Auburn, given how bad things seem over there and how bad they've seemed for kind of going on a while now.
Sonny Shipp.
What a take.
Representing Coach Ed Ogeron here this morning. His agent getting him some play up in Auburn, Alabama. Great stuff. Hopefully we see you in the studio next week, bro.
Hey, man, we're going to try to make that happen, brother.
All right, man. Thank you. Get warm.
All right, y'all be good.
All right, bro. Later. All right.
That's awesome.
That is
would be
great.
crazy.
That conversation brought to you by Cajun Ready Mix Concrete. Remember, online at CajunRMC.com. No job too big, too small. Municipal, residential, industrial, residential. Get over and check out Cajun Ready Mix Concrete. CajunRMC.com. CajunRMC.com is where you find them online. All right, JBoy is texting me back. Jake Crain, he said his phone's going nuts.
Not bad.
Pipe me up here. All right, we're good.
Pipe me up, Scotty.
Yes, sir. Rob sense. Yeah,
Hey, Jordy.
What's that, JBoy?
Yeah, JBoy.
How we feeling, bro? How we feeling, dude? Your phone has got to be blown up. We're live. We are live. We're live.
You're live.
Yeah.
What's up, world? Thanks for the heads up.
Yes,
you go, dude.
absolutely. How much has your phone blown up over the last 10 hours?
Well, the only way I compare it is it's blown up about as much as a SpaceX rocket for Elon Musk in the early trials. So it's been going off the hook. Look, here's what I'm going to say, and I've talked to some people that would know. I don't believe that some of these rumors that are being thrown out are true. What I think is more likely to happen if something does happen, and something is up.
Mm-hmm.
Something is up, and again, it's developing. But I would be highly skeptical of all the rumors. I would think if something were to happen, it would be more of a mutual thing to part ways. But whatever's going on, it's still in the early stages, and I don't want to report anything until I know
Absolutely.
it's concrete. And there's a few people that I'm going to talk to today. I was actually on the phone when you guys called me. It's a developing situation, but I don't think it's nothing. Is it something that, because you guys know how it is. Something gets out there, then all of a sudden a lot of people run with it, and it goes 35 different ways, and you can miss the point really easy. But I do believe that something is up. Specifically what it is, I don't have enough concrete information to put anything out there right now. We're literally going in the office to do the show here as we speak, and going to put it out on YouTube later today. But I should know a lot more here in the next couple hours. But I don't think it's nothing. And I don't want to be one of the guys that plays both sides of the fence.
No, I know what you mean. We've kind of danced. We've kind of danced the same dance. I know what you're saying. I mean, something's brewing, nothing official. But you do know this, and you know Auburn's program as good as anybody that speaks about it publicly. Has he been a good fit?
Jordy, I think guys from anywhere can coach anywhere. I think it's a lot more about, the relationship with the staff, the way you're able to handle the periphery stuff outside of the X's and O's. So I do think Bryan Harsin is a good football coach. Do I think he's been a little overwhelmed? Do I think there's been, more chaos than the Joker sitting in the room planning over how to take over Gotham City, especially since the offseason? Yes. There's just so much negativity and chaos around Auburn right now that it's starting to look like he may be a little bit overwhelmed. I mean, guys, the proof's in the pudding. And look, the first year you inherit a roster with an offensive line that's not very good. We know the Bo Nix situation was crazy. Defensively, you had a lot of pieces, but the wheels fell off. I mean, you've gone through 3 coordinators, and look, some of the stuff is out of your control, but when you sign that contract to be the head coach at a place like Auburn or a place like LSU, you're held to a standard. It does fall back on you. That's why you make that money. So I do think he's been a little overwhelmed because, to quote Ron Burgundy, you decided, hey, we're going in the bear pit.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, it is. There's no better way to describe it. SEC. You're dancing with a bear every day.
Yeah, I mean, you look to your right. I mean, we know what Saban's done, and he's 50 shades of pissed off right now. Kirby Smart finally got over the hump. Jimbo, signed an incredible class. It's kind of like non-win aided 40 the way with NIL, but I just think he's been a little bit overwhelmed. And you go out in the jungle, you find out. And I think he went out there, looked around, because at Boise, you were doing your thing.
Right.
Everybody loves you. You're one of the top dogs in the conference. You're kind of like a house cat. You got the milk brought to you every day. Now you came to Auburn, you had to go out in the jungle and kill a gazelle, and fight off leopards and jaguars and, Bigfoot.
Saban and Jimbo are killing them all. Nothing to eat out here, for God's sake.
Pete Golden's drinking it all.
Yeah, I mean, they're literally like, it's like Rafiki holding up Simba. Like, we're going to see how he does.
Is this going to dominate your show? Is this going to be all Auburn today, or what else are you talking?
It's as we transition, we have a big announcement coming up. We're still we're on our YouTube channel now, the JBoy show, as we transition. Everybody, if you want to find out more about the situation, obviously shameless plug here, go over there and sub. But it's going to be a lot of Bryan Harsin today. And again, man, I should know a lot more here in the next couple hours.
Yeah.
But something's not right. And there's, how it goes. You get some inertia, and it gets out there, and it keeps moving and keeps moving. Eventually, it gets over the event horizon. That's just how these things work.
This might be unfair, but if it was to open right now, obviously the calendar is not playing to advantage Auburn. Is there any names on a short list to look out for, or would be something that they would be scrambling?
Well, if it was me, I think you do everything you can to get Hugh Freeze. The only problem is Greg Sankey's in the way, but that didn't stop Auburn from hiring Bruce Pearl. They told him, I wouldn't do it if I was y'all. And they said, well, we're going to do it. And they did it.
Number one in the country.
Yeah, and that worked out. Look, it's an area of forgiveness, man. I mean,
the Bible Belt, baby.
You would be at the top of the list. Here's the problem, though. If you don't get Hugh, or there's one or two other guys, then the list drops off dramatically.
Yeah.
So it's always a risk, and timing is everything. But if something were to happen, I'm not saying it is.
Yeah.
Hugh Freeze would be number one on the list.
Jake Crain, he is the host of the JBoy Show. You can follow him all over social media. Make sure you're on that YouTube channel. It should be a very active day for Jake Crain and the JBoy Show. There is nobody that is more well connected to the Auburn program that speaks publicly about it that you will find on a public platform than the JBoy Show. Make sure you get there today, and he is a good friend of what we're doing down here in Baton Rouge. Thank you as always, man. Have a good one.
Hey, Jordy, keep killing it, man. Appreciate it.
All right, bro. See you. There is JBoy checking in this morning. His show should be pretty eventful today.
You can't bring in Hugh Freeze if this is true with what happened with
Kevin
Harsin.
What if Auburn has Hugh Freeze and Bruce Pearl on the same campus?
I'd be jealous.
I mean, me too. Good Lord. War Eagle, baby.
Fly the middle finger.
War Eagle. We know who we are. We embrace it. We love it.
I mean, Pete Golden couldn't have got away more of a better day, huh? You just kind of slide under the radar. You're at the bottom of the docket. Now you're like, oh, thank God for Auburn.
And to think that he would be repreprimanded after the recruining day that he just had. Saban is still celebrating. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so is Saban. I mean, Saban probably bailed him out.
He's right in the car with him.
Hey, Coach.
He and Miss Terry.
Hey, Coach. It's Officer Gump up here at the Tuscaloosa PD. We got Peter Golden up here in the holding cell.
How'd y'all do? What y'all want me to do with him?
He said he landed them 3 top pass catchers from Louisiana. Do you want me to just let him out, or
you will come get him, Terry awake?
Oh shit, Gump! I'm on my way. Hang on one second. I'll come get him. He
Fire
did have
up
a
the
great day.
Mercedes.
Don't see if we can't keep it out of the paper for the next 20 minutes.
That didn't happen.
Yeah.
Nope, nothing's gonna happen to him.
Hell no, nothing's gonna happen to him, man.
He'll just be a meme for a day.
Keep up the good work, Petey.
Yeah, do whatever.
Maybe
you
get a
gotta
haircut
do.
next time before your next mugshot.
He wasn't prepared. Quarter zip, he was
No
definitely
one's
going
ever
out.
prepared for their mugshot.
That's true. Well, he looked like he was
It's not
going.
usually your best look when you make it
Some
to that
people
point.
smile in
Let me
those
see,
things.
bring it up. What was,
It is
let's
funny
see,
when they smile.
Petey go with the old school Louisiana frat look,
Yeah.
the button
He
down
did.
and the khaki.
He's got
wow,
the
the
golf
super
shirt and
frat
the quarter
look.
He
zip.
does.
Yeah.
He's got the button down and the half zip.
So he knew he was going out. That's a going out outfit.
Wow.
That is a
I'm
going
going
out
to
outfit.
crush a couple drinks.
He's pulled off the top, the gray on top, and kept the real shade of the beard, which is pretty commendable for
That's
Petey.
what I was gonna say. It's a totally different. It's like a
It
wig.
is.
Why
It
is that?
Was his hair that
Is
long?
it gray or blonde hair though?
No,
Are you
it's
saying
gray.
that's gray?
I mean, it looks like his hair is naturally red
Yeah,
by his
the
facial
beard.
hair. But if we want to just say that the lighting on the picture and go light brown, then the hair on his head is gray. Like he is, which makes sense. I'd imagine working for Saban and being Alabama's defensive coordinator is a very stressful job.
How old's this guy?
He's young.
Okay.
By market standards. I mean, I think like by coaching standards, he's still mid-30s. 37.
Oh, looks all of it right there.
Glassy eyes and pupils dilated. Pete, step out of the car, please. Got a couple of questions for you.
Me? Are you sure?
First things first, how the hell
did
y'all let Jacoby Matthews get away?
But
Go ahead and spread them for us, Pete.
Look, I guess he's growing the hair out.
Oh, okay. That's a better view. So it is gray. It's like salt and pepper.
Wow.
With
So
a
he's
reddish
got
beard.
dark hair and a red beard.
That's different. I've never
Petey.
seen that.
What's the secret?
Yeah, why is that? We need to know. I need
Call
more
him up.
information on that.
hate to waste his one phone call.
Aren't the eyebrows the telltale sign? Go back to that picture.
Usually,
I mean,
He's
the
dying
eyebrows are like
something,
in
dude.
between.
It looks
think
like
he's
he's
dyeing
just
the beard
fermenting
red?
his face.
No way, though.
I mean, look at his eyebrows.
I
Look at the
know.
contrast.
But that would be so weird
Look
to
at
do.
Pete, sit down, bro. What the hell's going on, man?
You don't get to leave here
What type
until
of
you
HGH are you on,
answer me a
dude?
couple questions,
What
lawyer.
is going on with you? What's up with your hair? I'm speaking out of a form of jealousy. First, I mean, like, I want to know your secret on the face.
It is
Yeah,
two
that's
different
different.
colors. Mm-hmm. You think he's doing just a little touch, like a little
Something.
little put in there?
I mean, that's
for
tough
men.
to do, right?
I don't know. I
I
can't
mean,
even grow this beard.
my beard is still kind of prickly, so it looks dark. But if it goes, I mean, like tomorrow, you could see the gray, right? I mean, like you can even see it like down on the chin. I mean, it's like the gray is in. I mean, but my hair is still kind of black. You can still see the shades of black from when I did have hair that was colored the correct way.
But look at that photo Noah pulled up. It's dark. I don't know, y'all.
Something's up with
What
Petey.
He looks like a hairy guy though.
He's
Like
got
his
too much
body's
money.
got to be hairy.
He's hit that financial, that tax bracket that. Not in that picture.
What does that have to do with his hair color though?
Not in that. Well, you try to make yourself look young again.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where
But he's not old.
I think the grind, like I mean, if you look at like Bezos and you look at like
Oh,
Elon
God.
Musk, like
Yeah.
when they started the grind, bro, they were very like just doughy and flubby.
And now Bezos looks like he's going to win World's Strongest Man. He
And
looks.
now-
That's what money does.
Now, yeah, exactly. Nick
Yes.
Saban is what
Yes.
money does. I mean, if you look at the headshots of Saban with the Cleveland Browns and Michigan State, I think his first $1 million contract at LSU, he kind of like embraced, which shows you how vain the little man is. I mean, he started to dye his hair. He started to do some
I mean, if you could,
upkeep,
you would.
some upkeep.
Yeah, why not?
But as he has become a multi-millionaire, I mean, he looks 40 at 70.
He is 70.
He looks younger
great.
now. He looks younger now than he did
Yeah.
when he was at Michigan State.
Yeah.
That's the
he
argument.
looks better. Yeah.
And that to me is what money does for people.
No, this is what
And
money
maybe
does.
Pete's just touching a little bit of that early cash where he's like, you know what? I could probably get away with dyeing my hair on my face. Look at Bezos.
He looks like he
bro.
has Benjamin
Look
Button.
at this guy.
That's not even the same person.
That's
Look at the
divorce,
shoulders
too,
on
for
this
Jeff.
guy.
That's,
Look
that's
at the
divorce.
muscles.
I mean,
You versus the guy she tells you
You
not to worry about.
Yeah. Yes.
That's not divorce. That's money.
that's
both.
that is. She
You
told
get
me
in
I had a
shape
small
after
penis.
divorce.
Yeah.
That's
On the
both.
way out the
that
door.
That
is-
thing is
yes.
little.
She told me I had micro penis.
I'll just build a rocket then. How big
And I'm
is
just
this?
going to put more HGH up my ass that'll shoot me to the moon.
Just directly into my forehead.
Shaving my head and I'm getting shoulders like LaRon Landry.
It does look good.
He looks
He
good.
better, bro. I mean, think about the money that he has spent to look like that.
Look,
Look
he
what a
looks
nerd
so
he
different.
is
has
on
to
the
wear
left.
A, he has to
Look
wear
at
a name
Bezos
tag.
on
He
the
looks
left.
so
Your
different.
accountant to your security guard.
Khaki pleated pants.
Do you think it is the same person?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
dude.
100% the same person.
Power of drugs.
Relief med.
Nathan Velasquez, the 5-minute critic, next year on the Jordy Culotta Show. Make sure you hit that like button, share button, comment button. We appreciate you being here with us on this Friday.
Yeah.
We'll be right back. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. True Blue Water, true hydration at its finest. Right now, you're only a few minutes away from getting your 5-gallon water delivered to you, just like we are over here at the UDL. All you got to do is log on to truebluewater.com. That's TRU bluewater.com. The website's fantastic over at truebluewater.com. You can get your service and find out how quick it is. You can schedule a delivery, even hop on the billing system right there at truebluewater.com. TRU bluewater.com. All right, it is way too cold outside in South Louisiana right now. I cannot believe that the kids are still in school. It's that cold right now. But I can't imagine it's colder than what Nathan Velasquez is experiencing. Last week we talked to him and he was in a blizzard. He did some excellent camera work that he posted on social media, which was lovely. A little Central Park in the snow. Nathan, how are you feeling this morning? Where's the weather at?
Actually, it's actually not. I don't know if it's. I'm probably just used to the fact that we're out of that blizzard now. It's still kind of cold outside, but I'm fine with the way it is. I think we're back headed for like the 40s or something. There's no snow on the ground. Well, I did not realize how bad that gets whenever you – because, I went out with my camera to Central Park, and you think, I got the sweater, got the coat, got the hat and everything. It's like – it is like
Southerner.
just little needles like just going right at your face whenever you're – it's rough. But no. Got some good video, and anyone that is in the video game, there are tons of sites you can sell B-roll to. So I had to go out there get a few Central Park shots.
The shots were beautiful, I must say. What was your first experience of a blizzard like, Nathan?
Oh, what here?
Yes.
No,
last weekend was it a blizzard when we were talking? Weren't you preparing for a blizzard?
I went outside. Actually, it was a lot more activity outside than I thought there was. I thought everyone kind of just shut themselves inside, which, I'm sure tons of people did. What I was surprised about, how packed the bars get. And it makes perfect sense. I was not ready for that, though. Over on 2nd Avenue, it was just, at the brim with people. So unexpected, but that was a lot of fun. All
right, Nathan, I'm looking up in the latest in Alec Baldwin. Is he hosting a true crime podcast? Is this guy for real?
I honestly think that he is gonna get away with it by just not giving a single solitary fuck.
I mean,
it's a great strategy.
He is it is. It's kind of like just and there are a few people. He's got his own podcast that he hosts. I forget the name of it now, but before he was doing this,
the Long Island
crime
guys.
One, I have no. I think it's something like just like something like that. I have no idea. But essentially, people that have been working, producing the podcast that have come and gone, and kind of people, the lower level people that have worked with him, they've said that whenever this whole shooting comes up, he refers to it as an incident. He said, I had an incident. Just I had something go on. We had to take care of something. You get fender benders. You shoot someone in the neck. You got enough influence. You got enough power. Yeah. It was a bad week. It was a terrible week. But hey, we're past it now. But I don't know how you pivot into doing true crime. I mean, I guess he's got experience now. If you need to talk about true crime, he's got experience in that world. But
it's called art fraud.
Podcast?
Yeah, art fraud.
It's weird.
I listened to the first few minutes of the first episode, and it's strange. It's very strange. He's doing podcasts. He's going to like a film festival next week. He's been invited as like a guest speaker. So maybe this just plays out as him going back to normal life, and it's just swept under the rug. I don't know, but hey, it's he's pivoting into just being like, what happened? We have a problem here? I don't think we have a problem.
Right.
He's good at
what
that.
What a jerk off this guy is. Alec Baldwin, the host of a true crime podcast. I also saw where New Mexico was introducing a bill that's saying that all thespians now must go through a firearm training class before they work in that state.
Yeah, essentially, if you're going to work in New Mexico and you take a role that requires you at any point to use a firearm, you're going to be sued even if they find out that you didn't go through firearm training. Which I feel if you're going to have some type of regulation around this thing, that's probably the way to go. There are so many people in Hollywood that have been saying, like Peter Dinklage from Game of Thrones, he's been advocating for don't actually have any actual, like just have dummy guns the entire time and then CGI in all of the actual firing. Which we're sending Tom Cruise to space now because when you get that reality in front of the camera, it actually makes for a better performance, a better experience. So if we're going to do that, I feel like that's a better regulation, having people actually go through some training.
Speaking of Tom Cruise, is Mission Impossible, is it being delayed? Did I read where it's getting delayed again?
Yeah, and the reason that they're saying this is happening, and this is like the next two Mission Impossible movies. They said that, back obviously in 2020, they pushed all these back for the pandemic reasons. They're still saying that it's the pandemic. I'm a little skeptical about that. I think what's going on here, Paramount and the other studios, everyone knows that Tom Cruise is big money in the bank. And essentially what I think they're playing at here, use the pandemic response to buy yourself another 2 years of delays. And if you look out at the calendar, essentially what you've got then, you've got Top Gun coming out a few months later, then you're followed by this Mission Impossible movie that's pushed back. Then you get the Tom Cruise space movie. Just a few months later, you get Mission Impossible 8. And then he's got that new, the sequel to Edge of Tomorrow that's supposed to come out just a few months after that. I think they're just trying to stack their deck and be like, look, we got all these Tom Cruise movies in the bank. Let's just make 2023, 2024 nothing but Tom Cruise. So everyone expect you're probably going to get tired of Tom Cruise by Christmas 2024.
No chance. Anthony Archfield says, hashtag Ask Nate. Nate, you have any plans of watching the new Jackass movie?
I've never seen a Jackass movie in the theater. No, I've seen them at home. I've seen them at home. They're tons of fun. I've never seen one in the theater though. So I most definitely, I'm excited for this new Moonfall movie that's coming out. Like I think we need a big disaster movie, and hey, we got one with the moon coming towards the planet. We got one with guys getting hit in the nuts by a bull. I am all for, and I've never seen that in the theater. I've never seen either of those things in the theater, so I'm on board. I'm on board.
Nathan, the 5-Minute Critic, I know, will be live streaming next week for the Oscar nominations. Has Hollywood had the realism hit that they have been trying to dodge with all of the less interest that they have experienced from the public the last 2 years?
Like I said before on the show, I think the big news for this year's Oscars is going to be, are they actually going to nominate stuff that people watch, that people are interested in? Because if they don't, then I think we can just expect that, we probably have 3-4 years before the Oscars streams on a website and then just kind of limps off into obscurity. But essentially, I think what we're looking at, if on Tuesday they nominate Dune and Spider-Man No Way Home, I think we got a good chance that this might still be a relevant conversation to be having. If they don't, if they go for things like Belfast, West Side Story, Drive My Car, which are fine movies, those are perfectly fine movies. And, if you're interested in those types of stories, you should check them out. But nobody cares. If you talk about the 45, 50 million people that used to watch the Oscars, that audience does not care about those movies. So that's going to be really the story that I'll be tracking next week when this nomination list comes out. Are they nominating stuff that people are actually watching?
Nate, I recently saw a trailer for the new Pinocchio, and I wanted to know if you've seen it or not.
Oh, I love the idea of Guillermo del Toro doing a Pinocchio movie. Actually, the movie that was reviewed this last week, Nightmare Alley with Bradley Cooper, that's the newest Guillermo del Toro movie. He is, if you're interested in following directors, he is such a reliable filmmaker. The idea of like stop motion the idea of him leading the charge, the idea of Netflix giving him the money needed to do that story. And also, I'm just a huge Ewan McGregor fan. So I don't know how you felt about it, but from that trailer, I'm all on board.
Nate, I couldn't get past the voice of Pinocchio. They made it like a whiny 14-year-old boy, like that's from 2024.
I'm gonna trust. Hey, I'm gonna trust that the guy leading the charge knows more than I do, and he's got something brewing that'll be of interest. I hope it's good. I hope it's good, and anything stop motion really. I'm all in on that kind of animation.
The audio. Have you heard the audio? Have you heard this?
Yeah, I have.
Pinocchio. It's terrible.
Did you hear what he's telling you?
I know. I'm listening to him. I will just watch it. I'll watch it with the captions on mute.
He's telling you to shut the fuck up. Criticism.
Oh, it's Nate. I didn't know Nate was Pinocchio.
Nate, this week's review on the 5-Minute Critic. What are we breaking down?
Yeah, this last week was Nightmare Alley, which actually now is out on Hulu. It's on HBO Max, and I would say, talking about Academy Awards movies that appeal to a large audience, I feel like Nightmare Alley is a huge, huge recommendation. I feel like it's a crowd pleaser. Not a crowd pleaser in terms of just, big, dumb fun. It's a solidly told story. We don't get a lot of just solidly told dramas, mysteries. And this one 100% does that. Bradley Cooper replaced Leonardo DiCaprio because just scheduling didn't work out. And I feel like Bradley Cooper might be giving DiCaprio a run for his money in terms of right now, currently putting out really, really, really strong performances. So again, that's on HBO Max and Hulu. Worth a watch. Next week, we're going more classic witness for the prosecution, classic 1950s courtroom drama, incredible stuff. So yeah, subscribe to 5-Minute Critic on YouTube, and we'll live stream the review.
5-Minute Critic is everywhere, as he said. Easiest way to find him is on YouTube. That's where the breakdowns come. But he's all over social media: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Find him there and keep up with him every Friday right here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Stay warm. Keep pumping out the great content. We'll talk to you next week, buddy.
Sounds good. Have a good weekend.
Later, buddy. There is Nathan Velasquez checking in from New York City as we talked a little Hollywood there. Wrapped it up. The balls on this Alec Baldwin guy.
Unbelievable.
I mean, it's just
weird.
And we do forget that there's a family that lost life here, like a mother, a wife, daughter, sister, all of that. I mean, people affected by what happened in New Mexico with Baldwin, being really the source of that, and the arrogance of this guy in just the way that he has handled himself since that, whether it was an accident or whether it was on purpose, I don't know, but I do know that somebody died. And I do know that, there's an investigation and that there's things that are trying to come from that, to find out what happened and get down to the bottom of it. And every time you look up, it feels like every single week we talk to Nathan. And I know that we make light of it and we laugh about it. And Baldwin's lost his mind and he's a lunatic and he's crazy even before this stuff went down. But, I mean, it is such just at the baseline of it, such a turnoff in the way that he has handled this tragedy. I mean, like,
it's arrogant.
It's so arrogant.
He's so out of touch with it all. Like what would you expect more from somebody that actually got in trouble? That's as famous as he is, in the setting that he did, where there's really no way he can blame anybody else but himself. Mm-hmm. Instead, he just pivoted and said, "Well, I'm just not gonna make a big deal out of it." I mean, that's the only way to really handle it.
I think he's trying to prove he's not guilty by just living his normal life.
Yeah, like if I were guilty, I'd be much more affected by this.
Exactly.
I don't know about old Alec. Yeah, he's just playing a role.
Remember Daily, we're brought to you by, and we introduced you to yesterday, Morales Roll-Offs. Morales Roll-Offs is located on Airline Highway. If you need a roll-off dumpster, whether you are in commercial or residential, Morales Roll-Offs are ready for you today. Online, moralesrolloffs.com, or you can call them. Easy phone number, 225-427-0000. 427-0000 is the number for Morales Roll-Offs, moralesrolloffs.com. They're a local business with great customer service. They've got great prices. And as we said, residential, commercial contractors, and homeowners are all welcome over there on Airline Highway. 16155, Airline Highway, just past or in between Industriaplex and what is that on Airline? Where are they? In between? I can't think of the cross street.
Next to them, but they also do. Don't they also do
across from BMW? Kind of in that part of Airline Highway.
They do U-Haul rental too.
Yeah, They do. They if you're looking for a move this week and you're looking for a U-Haul, they are dealers of U-Hauls over there at Morales Roll-Off. Morales Roll-Offs.
40-yard dumpster, dude.
.com.
I don't even know what you do with a 40-yard dumpster.
You renovate your house or office.
Oh, yeah.
Throw everything in it.
Yeah.
All those prices are competitive over at Morales Roll-Offs, and they are the best that you will find in the area. Nobody will beat their prices over at Morales. 16155 Airline Highway. Get in touch with them over there. All right, we're going to close out the week with Mark Schlesinger, head coach of the UNO basketball team, the Privateers. Reed Wilson, Jordy Culotta, what's up with the Uncle Al interview? We've texted him twice.
Today?
This morning.
No response?
No response.
That mama got to him.
Told you.
She's like, don't you dare get on that show again.
Lot of time. All right, we'll talk to Coach Sles. Yeah, what's your address?
Yeah. Oh, I'll come up. I'll be in the studio.
Yeah, right.
My hood.
Hell, you will.
Straight to voicemail this morning for Uncle Al.
Lose that number.
Or Uncle Kev.
Which one?
Yeah, whatever one. Uncle.
What do you call him?
I just call him Unc.
Call him Unc? We don't know.
I call him Unc, just to play it safe. All right, we'll close it out next here with Mark Schlesinger. Swords up. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022. 225-485-8022 is where you can find Abear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Just a couple of wins away for our guy, Mark Schlesinger, down in New Orleans by becoming the all-time winningest head basketball coach down at that program. That's a prideful program down at UNO. He's just 2 games behind Ron Green as the all-time winner in games as the head coach. He got 144 last night as the Privateers were out and running, man. They were fun to watch. 79-70. They beat A&M Corpus Christi, a couple of highlight dunks last night. But more importantly, Coach Sles has got this group who was had some expectation in the preseason to be really good. Got them rolling right now. Nice straight win, as we said last night, and they will take on Incarnate Word next time out in San Antonio. Coach Sles is a great friend of our program. He's got them going down in New Orleans, and he joins us here on this Friday morning of the Jordy Culotta Show. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Man, living the dream, baby.
Absolutely,
living the dream.
Swords up.
It's been a great ride. These guys have been such a joy to coach. They are playing their guts out every single night, and my staff is just knocking it out the park every week. And they are just carrying me. Collectively, they're carrying me through. Trust me.
Well, you've done a great job your entire time over there. Nobody thinks that you aren't doing your part for sure. But what has it been about this group? I know that you had some transfers. You had some new guys that came in. When did you see them gelling and you guys starting to really believe and buy into what was going on down there and get you guys to playing like you are right now?
We knew we could be really good from the start. We had, obviously we always play a crazy non-conference schedule. We're at Northwestern. We're up at half, up 9 in the second half, and just lost the game in the last 3. And we knew we could be pretty good then. And these guys just kept gelling and grinding. We had a little COVID break there in December, like a lot of people did, and we lost 3 games. Other people canceled on us, so it kind of gave us time to be in the gym and really tune some things up. And I think from there forward, we have been on all things going straight ahead. These guys have locked in. They're playing really selflessly, and it starts with, we got 2 elite guards. I don't know, there's 2 better guards in mid-major basketball than Derek St. Hilaire and Troy Green, and the things that those 2 are doing. Troy in the efficiency department and just winning, and then Derek is as dynamic, a 6-foot playmaker. As you'll see, he had 3 highlight dunks last night that I don't know how any of the 3 aren't on SC top 10 for sure.
You mentioned those guys, and both of them had a combined 35 for you last night, or 38, with St. Hilaire dropping 25, and Green had 13 for you. What has stabilized them in the backcourt? What has gotten them going? It looks like they are scoring at a very high rate.
They're just play off of each other so well. It's I tell people it's a Joe Dumars Isaiah combination for people our age, or Mitch Richmond and Tim Hardaway type deal. These 2 guys play off of each other extremely well, but the defensive focus first, and I think because they do that and they put their defensive focus going before they're scoring, it just the basketball guys reward them, and it moves forward, and the teammates play for them and do all the dirty work that goes.
St. Hilaire's dunks will put people in the seats, and that'll get people talking about UNO basketball, but it looks like you've been playing really good defense up to this point, and it was highlighted last night. How are you on that end of the floor?
We've been very blessed. We lead the league in 3-point defense, and one of the top in the country, and we continue to turn people over to see our break. So it's been a ton of fun, and the momentum that's building in the city, and the momentum that's built on campus is real. And there was 2 watch parties last night on campus to watch our game. And so when things like that start happening on our campus, then we got it going the right direction. And so it's been fun. And you've been there. I think we got as good a basketball, if not the best basketball facility to watch a game in the state. And so 2 big home games next week on Thursday and Saturday. We're hoping that, we can get a huge crowd back. Kirkland's
a real rim protector for you on that side of the floor, huh?
He is. We brought in him and Tyson Jackson, are 2 transfers, 6'10" and 6'8", 250, and both guys have been very, very good. And Kirkland rebounds it at a high rate, and they both are extremely selfless. And I think we've got 5 forwards that make up probably the deepest, best group of forwards in the conference, and that gives us a ton of depth to be able to play and play fast. You got to have good bigs to play fast. Not just the guards. You better have a good bigs.
Yes, sir. I know that you don't. You're going to be mad at me for this question, but I have to ask you. You have coached every single Southland Conference game at University of New Orleans. You've coached the most games in program history there, and you were 2 games away from being the all-time winningest coach in a very prideful program. I know that you are not in it for the individual accolades, and you're in it for affecting young kids and student athletes' lives, which you have done at a rapid rate and by enormous amounts of numbers. But do you ever take time to exhale and think about what you've accomplished or are accomplishing?
I didn't really know all that stuff until recently. And I look at it more than just, man, what an incredible opportunity God's blessed me with to get chances to make a difference. You get you only get so many shots in life, and sometimes you got to make the most of those opportunities. And I'm extremely humbled that I've gotten as many shots as I've gotten to be able to make a little bit of a difference, and hopefully I'll be afforded and blessed that opportunity to keep doing it. It's what I love. It's what my passion is. It's the only thing I do the only job I've ever dreamed of doing since, 4th grade in Wilmington, Indiana. So it's really cool. Not many people get that shot in life, and I'm thankful for it. And down the road, I'm sure it'll be cool. And more than anything, something like that's really neat for your kids.
Yeah, for sure.
Of my own children. That's the part. Like, of all the things that would come out of it, that would be really cool for my kids to know that happened.
You are in San Antonio tomorrow for a 4:00 tip-off versus Incarnate Word. What are the challenges they present to you?
You know what? They're a way better team than their record, and they score it a lot of different ways. They got some really talented guards. Dr. Carson Cunningham is their coach. He's a great offensive tactician, another Hoosier like me. But anybody that is a doctor is obviously way smarter than me. So our players better be really good to make up for my deficiencies.
Luckily, you have recruited very well, and those guys are playing together, and you got them going. You got them going in the right direction on the floor. Keep it up, man! Congratulations on everything. It's great to talk to you, and hopefully we can make it down there next week for a game.
I appreciate it, and congrats on the new digs. I look forward to seeing them one day, even though I've got no idea, and I know I'll never know where they are. I'll have to be blindfolded and thrown into a van by Will Ferrell and his merry band.
At least you know how you're going to get here, but I will send you the address.
Yeah.
That's exactly how you will arrive, though. Congratulations. Go win tomorrow, man. Thank you. Later, buddy. There's Coach Mark Schlesinger checking in. Swords up down in New Orleans. He is the best, bro. I'm telling you, man. If you have not watched, have you ever watched a basketball game inside Lakefront Arena, UNO, where they played? That's where that highlight of Bird torching the Hawks. That's where that game was played. I'm telling you.
Is it really the best place in the state to watch
the finest
basketball?
venue to watch a basketball game in the state of Louisiana that I've been to. I hadn't been to all of them, but I've been to the major ones, I feel like. And UNO Lakefront Arena is the best. It's also a great place to watch like a music concert.
I've only been to Widespread there.
Yeah,
Never
Widespread used to
been
play
a
on
game.
Halloween there.
Shout out to my mom.
Yeah.
She graduated from UNO.
UNO,
Okay.
privateer. It's a great school, man. Yeah. But I'm telling you, if you've not been to the lakefront to watch a basketball game, well, there's just not a basket. There's not a bad seat in the arena, and the seats are up, and the playing surface is down, right? So you're watching. It's a cool perspective of watching basketball. Cool. You know, I mean, if you look at those Bird highlights, you can see the. It hasn't changed the way that it's set up since then.
We should all go to a game.
Field
trip.
I know a guy. I got a guy.
You do.
Got a guy.
All right, so we appreciate
this is better than the PMAC, dude?
Yes, I am. From a watching perspective, like I mean, like you feel like you're in the game, you're a part of the game. I mean, look at that. There's not a bad seat. You're on top of it. You're on top of the action. I'm telling you, it's a great place to watch a game.
Real nice.
It's a great place.
Student section's a little far away.
Where is it?
I think it would be like over to the left or right.
Jeez, is that during a game?
I hope not.
Those are girls playing out there. I don't even know.
Well, I mean,
scrimmage. We'll call it.
And there's like cheerleaders.
I see
so that
cheerleaders
must
on
be
the
like a
baseline.
high school something or something like that happening.
I don't know.
Sheesh.
I don't know.
Looking like a
No.
Menard game. Shout out Menard basketball.
Menard versus
never
Manning?
won a game. They went defeated and got patches on their.
No.
Ofer.
Wow.
Hey, when you're bad, you just grovel in it.
Roll with it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, everybody, have a great day. Have a great weekend. No watch party this weekend for LSU Vanderbilt at 5 o'clock. Or
Why?
at least from my standpoint, there will not be. Are you gonna run it?
Maybe.
You're gonna do it.
So. I'll talk to Noah, see what he wants to do.
Okay.
See if we get a little squat in here.
When is that? What time is that?
5.
5 o'clock
Saturday?
tomorrow from Nashville, SEC Network, I believe.
Tommy? He likes that area. I know he likes Nashville.
Is that Uncle Kev?
No, that's Milton with our jerky.
Oh, that's jerky.
Yeah.
Still exciting.
Yeah.
Still exciting.
That would have about to have been electric.
I know. We're like, what?
It would be Uncle Kev to come in 10 minutes late. Like, oh,
we go back live.
We just,
I know, right?
Let us reset.
All right, have a great weekend. Have a great day. Make sure and hit that like button, share button, comment button before you get out of here. We appreciate the interaction. We will talk to you again Monday morning at 7 a.m. Stay up on the social media. We'll let you know if we go live tomorrow for the watch party.
Whoa, wrong one.
Whoa, bro, you were trying to set up.
Whoa,
You were trying a little end page there or
box
something.
over there. Watch
What are we
yourself.
doing?